Hello everyone. Is this rant number 2? No, it's not. I just I had seen I just read a comment on a previous video of mine, and someone said that they flush and they have cooler temperatures. I just want to be clear. When I'm talking about flushing, it's because your plant is in peak growing condition. What do I mean by that? Like I was talking about my phals and how I say that I never let my grow space here really get below 75, even the lowest of 70. I tend to grow warm, loving plants in here. I don't grow Masdevallias, I don't grow Draculas, I don't grow Highland orchids and all that like Brad does. No, even I guess even like I told you, my Cochleata cross, that's suffering because it's too warm in here for that. So let's say I had a Masdevallia sitting in water that I flushed regularly and I was giving it the oxygen exchange that it needed, but yet I let the root system get up to 75 degrees or 80 degrees in that warm water. The plant is probably gonna die because it's still not going to be in a condition that's conducive for constant growth. You know, I think, like I was hinting in the first video, we put plants in semi-hydroponics, I think, because we're trying to make it more convenient for us because we have so many plants. Because we want to give them a humid environment, we want to give them fertilizer and this. But what are we trying to promote with that environment? Constant active growth. If your plant, and you have it in semi-hydroponics, is not in constant active growth, then you're doing something wrong. There's no reason to have a plant in a nutrient solution that is not growing. Because then what is the point? You know, that would be like keeping a catasetum in semi-hydro all year long, but it's dormant. Of course, it's gonna rot. No matter if I keep it at the perfect temperature, flush the water every day, this or that. See, you know, so many of us try to keep so many genre and so many different types of orchids in the same area that we can't make all these specific microclimates that they're going to need. And then we try to fit them all into a specific growing technique, like semi-hydro. Of course, there's going to be failure. I mean, that's just common sense. And then if you mix in all the variables of container size, medias, air circulation, temperature, just there's so many different things that can make a problem for you that of course there's gonna be dieback or failure. So I guess when I say that I flush every day, I'm growing my phals in bark, I have my cattleyas growing in lava in semi-hydro, I have my frags growing in semi-hydro in lava mixed with bark mixed with diatomaceous earth. I have paths that I have in semi-hydro. Do I water them as much? Do I keep the water level on all these plants the same? No, I try to mimic, or I try to make an environment for them that will use semi-hydro but be more conducive to the plant. I mean, I don't know if I can say that in a proper way. Like with cattleyas, I grow them in a large lava so that they do have airflow around their roots. And because I know they do like to dry out a little bit more, they like to have that wet-dry cycle that we all talk about, you know. But yet I have some roots of my cattleyas that grow down into the water, and they're branching and they're green tips and they love it. So I try to give them this mixed world that they can make the choice of whether they want to grow a root into a more airy zone or down into some nutrient solution. My phals, Even though I grow them in bark, which is an organic media that everyone's so terrified about, you can't have it, whatever. I showed you the one plant that has an absolute pot full of roots, solid through, that grows sitting in water in bark. Do I have it fully submerged in water? No, it's growing in about 1 inch of water. Is there capillary action in there? Yes. Do I have layering still in bark? Yes. The top of that media is never 100% saturated. I also grow like my Sherry Baby. That's growing in 100% moss and semi-hydro. What's the purpose of that? Because I am a little bit lazy, but yet I'm lazy in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I give that because that's what the roots like. The roots on that plant does not like to dry out. They have very fine roots. Same with my Oncidium Wild Willie Pacific Bingo. I tried growing that in bark mixture with moss, and never had success. As soon as I put my plants into pure sphagnum like they came from the store, I have a beautiful root system. I have beautiful bulbs, but yet I still grow it sitting in a saucer of water. Why? I don't know. I guess because I'm partially lazy too, because I do want to have more than one orchid. But like I said, I still give them the time of day every day to go and inspect the plant, flush it. The least I can do is flush it every day. Do I keep it sitting in? Do I keep the whole pot submerged? No. Do I keep about 1 inch in there or a 1/2 inch of water? Yes. But yet, like I said, the plant has the option to go into what type of moisture it wants to, whether more towards the surface and grow aerial roots, or grow down into the water. Which, even funny, I see all these people with like these Oncidiums with aerial roots. I've never had an Oncidium push out aerial roots for me. Maybe it's because I don't have a humidifier in here. I don't know. I can't really tell you. And in this grow space, it's only a grow space during the worst months. In the summertime, I open this up and it becomes a balcony pretty much again. So, they get all kinds of conditions, but I water them every day, and guess where them roots are growing? Even in the summertime when it has the outside humidity, and here in Wisconsin we get a fairly high humidity. It's kind of unbearable during the summertime. I've never had aerial roots. All the roots on the Oncidiums go straight to the bottom of the pot where the water's at. Why? Because I flush every day. Even when I used to water with a hose, I will water my plants with my Milwaukee City water, and they would go down in it. Am I recommending city water for everyone? No. I'm just saying, you have to see what works best for you, what works best for the plant, and implement a system that can combine the two in a harmony. You're trying to create an ecosystem for the plant that works for you and that works for the plant. If you can't do that, then you're not going to have success. If you're trying to push this orchid to perform for you the way you want it to, you're probably not gonna have success. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me about it. But that's like any other living creature on this planet. If you put something into an uncomfortable situation, it's not going to perform the way you want it to perform. It's going to perform how it knows to make. Sorry about that, guys. Again, you know that I record on my phone and it gets interrupted. But talking about situations for growing things, a living thing is not going to perform 100% how you want it to perform unless you're giving it the conditions to be successful. we talk about setbacks in plants, we talk about all this and that, and resiliency. It's like, how do you expect a plant to be resilient if you keep giving it the same situation that you want it to be in, but it's not something it's comfortable with? Is that really I mean, that's setback, yeah. But it's like, what are you really expecting from it but the same result? I guess I'm just, for one person to say, I guess you'll never hear me say, don't grow an orchid like this, or don't grow an orchid like that, or don't grow a plant like this, or don't grow a plant like that, because we have all figured out ways that work for us for particular orchids and stuff like that. As far as, let's take Vandas for example again. I don't have a Vanda in this collection. I won't ever have a Vanda in here. Not because I don't want to have a Vanda in a basket, not because this or that. I just think they're ugly. I don't like Vandas. I don't really see the attractive of a two-dimensional fan like that. That basically the flowers look almost like a phalaenopsis, and you get a whole mass of roots and a bunch of pickiness. I just don't really see the points. Although Rogers Vandas, I do like his orange one. That if I could find I think that's an Ascocenda. If I could find one like that, I might get it. But otherwise, I'm content without the hassle of a Vanda. Now back to the growing a Vanda in a pot. Is it possible? I'm sure it is. But you're gonna have to mimic a situation that's best for it. So if you're gonna not water the pot because it's not drying out quick enough, then you're gonna have to apply some kind of a heat to it, either a growing mat underneath it to get that temperature a little bit of a boost, or a different type of media, or this and that. Like I was explaining before, I grow my orchids in different medias, even though they're all growing semi-hydro. How does it work? It's because they're still semi-growing in what they want to grow in. I guess I said, like, I'm just trying to combine the two worlds to make it comfortable for both me and for the orchid, so that it can perform how I'm wanting it to perform. I'm giving the orchid the tools to do what it knows best. And talking about constant growth, like I said, I keep my Cattleyas even throughout the whole winter. They're in full semi-hydroponics because they were constantly pushing up new growths. They never once stopped. And is light really a factor? Yes and no. I get Wisconsin winter light here. Did the plant slow? Yes, but it was still in active growth. I maybe held back the nutrient solution, maybe flushed more with just plain water, plain RO water, than constantly giving it nutrient, but I was still constantly flushing the water to give it the oxygen, because I know I mentioned in a previous video that oxygen is also a macronutrient, if you could. Not a nutrient, but an element that a plant needs. Now, they can take that in through the stomata, in the leaves, and also through the root. So we have to be careful about that. It's like we forget, we are always so focused on NPK and now these other micro and macronutrients, but we often forget about oxygen. Do plants necessarily need oxygen during the day? No, but a lot of them do respiratory processes during the night, where it could be more important and crucial for them. So, I mean, I guess my whole thing is that sometimes we take some of these people's advice, and even me, if I'm wrong, correct me. I would love it, because then I'm growing in my knowledge too. But we have to understand the processes of what plants do. You know, and that's what I think a lot of us need to stick more to as facts than just anecdotal. Now, sure, anecdotal experience is great and wonderful because we can all learn from it. But we can only really learn from it if we're telling, like someone said, numbers, figures, or some kind of scientific methoding behind it. You know, is exchanging oxygen scientific? Yes and no. I mean, it's not exactly the most scientific thing out there, but it's just a common sense thing. You know, we can get all nitty gritty on how much ppm fertilizer and what the pH should be and all this and that. Yes, but for what? You know, like we've figured out that different levels work for different people because of different circumstances and different growth rates, different plants, different hybrids, different crosses. There's too many variables to say one person's situation works for another. What we need to think more is, how can we adapt this person's technique to a technique that's going to fit for us? You know, there's people that are growing in semi-hydro that it works. There's people that have tried semi-hydro and it doesn't work. Their plants don't really like it, but yet they grow traditionally and they have beautiful plants. Roger, I think, is one of them. I really enjoy watching Roger. He grows traditionally in a lot of bark and moss and mounted and all this and that. And he doesn't like to get his plants wet, and I don't blame him, because that's what works for him. He's figured out how to grow in his grow room, his space. That's the key here. I've figured out how to grow in my space, and for different things. You know, like my frags, for instance, putting them in that bubbler system. I tried it because I was thinking, how can I produce something that this thing is gonna like? That's what worked. You know, do I keep it in the bubbler system? No, not all the time. And once it establishes, then I can go into more semi-hydro, but yet flushing more regularly. You know, the bubbler system, I think, is a good tool for something that is trying to establish itself, and that's what I showed you with them Ecuagenera plants. Because they, you know, they don't always come over here with such good root systems. You know, or even, you know, a plant like the one from Hawaii. That one had a beautiful root system. That one went into semi-hydro too, because I tend to water a lot. So whatever I get from that plant, you know, it had a very airy mix. What I want to do to that plant is get it into a situation that is more conducive to what I'm used to doing. Because I do not know the growing conditions of what that plant was in Hawaii. They could have watered maybe once a week because they have so much humidity. If I did that here, that plant would be dead. So what did I do? I took it out of the media that they had it in. I put it in a media that I'm familiar with, that I know I could probably get it to perform in, and put it in a system that I know I could probably get it to perform in. And I'm monitoring it. You know, that's what I said in one of my videos. You know, get the plants out of the pot that they're coming in and put it into something that you're familiar with. Because if you wait, and I know it's not always right, because we always say wait till we see new root tips because we can set the plant back. Yes. But I don't know how many of us have witnessed branching roots and this and that. It's because we're getting them in a condition that is more conducive to their survival in our grow space. So though, like Roger might grow in bark and a little bit of moss and this and that in holy clay pots. If I was to bring that here, he's growing it beautifully there. If I was to bring that here in my thing, that plant would wither up and die in a week because I don't have 2 humidifiers going. I don't have exhaust and inlet fans. All I have is 1 fan oscillating to move the air, and I have a big squirrel cage fan to move some of that hot air into my house. I don't have an inlet fan. The inlet air is coming through my windows from my house. Okay guys, sorry, I know this is gonna get boring if I keep getting interrupted by phone calls, so I'm just gonna kind of cut this conversation short. I'll be looking for your comments down below, and just tell me what you're thinking. I mean, what I'm trying to say, like what Rick says often, he's like, I'm trying to get you to thinking. That's the whole point here. We need to think about what we're offering in our environments and how can we best make the plant perform in that. Now, before I get any more long-winded, I'm going to end it there, and I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening to my rant and this and that. But yeah, you know, let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm full of shit if you think so. Or tell me, hey, that makes sense, you know? But, yeah. Like and subscribe, share, and comment. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.